The lamp must be replenished. But even then it will not burn so long as I must watch. My slumbers, if I slumber, are not sleep, but a continuance of an enduring thought which then I can resist not. In my heart there is a vigil, and these eyes but close to look within. Yet I live, and bear the aspect and the form of breathing men. And grief should be an instructor to the wise. Sorrow is knowledge. They who know the most must mourn the deepest or the fatal truth. The tree of knowledge is not that of life. Philosophy and science, the springs of wonder, the wisdom of the world. I have essayed, and in my mind there is a power to make them subject to itself. But they avail not. I've done men good, and I've met with good even among men, but this avails not. I've had my foes. None have baffled, many fallen before me, but this avails not. Good, evil, life, power, passions, all I see in other beings has been to me as rain under the sands since that all nameless hour. I have no dread, and feel the curse to have no natural fear, no fluttering throb that beats with hopes, or wishes a lurking love of something on this earth. Now, to my task. Mysterious agency, ye spirits of the unbounded darkness whom I have sought, in darkness and in light, I call upon you by the written charm which gives me power upon thee. Rise! Appear! They come not yet. Now, by the voice of him who is first among you, by this sign which makes you tremble, by the claims of him, ye shall not thus elude me. By a power deeper than all yet urged, a tyrant's spell, which had its birthplace in a star condemned, the burning wreck of a demolished world, a wandering hell in eternal space, by the strong curse which is upon my soul, the thought which is within me and around me, I do compel ye to my will. Appear! The star which rules thy destiny was ruled ere earth began by me. The hour arrived, and it became a wandering mass of shapeless flame, a pathless comet, and a curse, the menace of the universe. And thou, beneath its influence born, thou worm, whom I obey and scorn, forced by a power which is not thine, and lent thee but to make thee mine, for this brief moment to descend, where these weak spirits round thee bend and parley with a thing like thee. What wouldst thou, child of clay, with me?
Earth, ocean, air, night, mountains, winds, thy star, are at thy beck and bidding, child of clay.
Before thee at thy quest their spirits are.
What wouldst thou with us,
son of mortals?
Say.
Forgetfulness.
Of what? Of whom? And why?
Of that which is within me. Read it there, ye know it, and I cannot utter it.
We can give thee that which we possess. Ask of us subjects, sovereignty, the power which shall control the elements, whereof we are the dominators, each and all. These shall be thine.
Oblivion? Self-oblivion. Can ye not wring from out the hidden realms ye offer so profusely what it is I ask?
It is not in our essence, in our skill, but thou mayst die.
Will death bestow it on me?
We are immortal, and do not forget we are eternal. And to us the past is as the future, present. Art thou answered?
Ye mock me. But the power which hath brought ye here hath made ye mine. Slave, scoff not at my will. The mind, the spirit, the Promethean spark, the lightning of my being is as bright, pervading, and far-darting as thy own, and shall not yield to yours, though cooped in clay. Answer, or I will teach ye what I am.
If, as thou sayest, thine essence be as ours, we have replied in telling thee, the thing mortals call death hath naught to do with us.
Then I have called thee from thy realms in vain. Ye cannot or ye will not answer me.
Say, what we possess we offer, it is thine. Bethink ere thou dismiss us. Ask again, kingdom and sway and strength and length of days?
Accursed! What use have I with days? They are too long already. Hence, be gone.
Yet pause. Being here, our will would do thee service. Think thee, is there no other gift which we can make not worthless in thine eyes?
No, none. Yet, stay. One moment ere we part. I would behold ye face to face. I hear your voices, sweet, melancholy sounds, as music on the waters, and I see the steady aspect of a large, clear star, but nothing more. Approach me as ye are, or one, or all, in your accustomed forms.
We have no forms, beyond the elements of which we are the mind and principle. But choose a form, in that we will appear.
I have no choice. There is no form on earth hideous or beautiful to me. Let him, who is most powerful among thee, take such aspect as unto him may seem most fitting. Come!
Behold!
Oh God! If it be thus, and thou art not a madness and a mockery, I may still be happy yet. I will take thee in my arms, and I will clutch thee. Oh. My heart is crushed.
Though thy slumber may be deep, yet thy spirit shall not sleep. There are thoughts thou cannot banish. There are shades that will not vanish. I call upon thee, and compel thyself to be thy proper hell. Lo, the spell now works upon thee, and the clankless chain hath bound thee. O'er thy heart and mind together hath the curse been passed. Now, whither?
The spirits I have raised abandoned me. The spells which I studied baffled me. The remedy I wreaked have tortured me. I lean no more on superhuman aid. It hath no power upon the past, and for the future, to the past begulfed in darkness, it is not of my search. My mother earth, thou fresh breaking day, and you mountains, why are you beautiful? I cannot love thee. Stir, a motion, Even a breath would bring my breast upon its rocky bosom's bed to rest forever. Wherefore do I pause? I feel the impulse, yet I do not plunge. I see the peril, yet I do not recede. There is a power upon me which withholds and makes it my fatality to live. If it be life to wear within myself this barrenness of spirit, and to be my own soul's sepulchre, for I have ceased to justify my deeds unto myself, the last infirmity of evil. Aye. How beautiful is all this visible world, how glorious in its action and itself. But we, who name ourselves its sovereigns, we have dust, have deity, alike unfit to sink or soar, with our mixed essence make a conflict of its elements, and breathe the breath of degradation and of pride, contending with low wants and lofty will till our mortality predominates, and men are what they name not to themselves, and trust not to each other. Hark! The note, the natural music of the mountain reed mixed with the sweet bells of the sauntering herd. My soul would drink those echoes. What's here? It seems not of my trade, and yet hath reached a height which none even of our mountaineers, save our best hunters, may attain. This garb is goodly, this mane manly, and is air proud as a free-born peasants at this distance. Ye avalanches, whom a breath draws down in mountainous o'erwhelming, come and crush me! I hear ye, momently above, beneath crash with a frequent conflict, but ye pass, and only fall on things that still would live. The fog begins to rise from up the valley. I warn him to descend, or he may chance to lose his wants, his way, and his life together. The mists boil up around the glaciers. Clouds rise curling fast beneath me, white and sulphury like foam from the roused ocean of deep hell. I must approach him cautiously. If near, a sudden step will startle him, and he seems tottering already. Mountains have fallen, leaving a gap in the clouds, and with their shock rocking their Alpine brethren, filling up the ripe green valleys with destruction splinters. Thus in its old age did Mount Rosenberg. Why stood I not beneath it? Friend, have a care, your next step may be fatal. For the love of him who made you, stand not on that brink. Such would have been for me a fitting tomb. My bones had then been quiet in their depth. They had not then been strewn upon the rock, for the wind's pastime is thus. Thus they shall be in this one plunge. Farewell, ye opening heavens. Look not upon me thus reproachfully. You were not meant for me. Earth, take these atoms. Hold, madman! Though aweary of thy life, stain not our pure veils with thy guilty blood. I am most sick at heart. Nay, grasp me not, I'm all feebleness. The mountains whirl spinning around me. I grow blind. What art thou? I'll answer that anon. Come, away with me. The chalet will be gained within an hour's time. 'Tis bravely done. You should have been a hunter. Follow me. No, yet pause. Thy mind and body are alike unfit to trust each other for some time at least. When thou art ready, I will be thy guide. Thy garb and gait bespeak thee of high lineage, one of the many chiefs whose castled crags o'erlook the lower valleys. Which of these may call thee lord? I only know their portals. My way of life leads me but rarely down to bask by the hearths of those great halls. But the paths which step from our mountains to their doors, those I know from childhood. Which of these is thine? No matter. Well, sir, pardon me the question and be of better cheer. Here, come, taste my wine. It is an ancient vintage. Many a day amongst the glaciers it hath warmed my veins. Now, let it do thus for thine. Come, pledge me fairly. Away, there's blood upon the brim. What dost thou mean? I say, 'tis blood. My blood. The pure, warm vein which flowed in the veins of my fathers, and in ours when we were in our youth, and had one heart and loved each other as we should not love. And this was shed, but still it rises up, coloring the clouds that shut me out from heaven. What thou art not, and I shall never be. Man of some strange words and half-maddening sin which makes thee people vacancy. Whate'er thy dread in sufferance be, there's comfort yet. The aid of holy men and heavenly patience. Patience! Hence! That word was made for brutes of burthen, not for birds of prey. Preach it to mortals of a dust like thine. I am not of thy order. Thanks be to heaven. I would not be of thine for the free fame of William Tell. But whatsoe'er thine ill, it must be borne, and these wild starts are useless. Do I not bear it? Look on me, I live. This is convulsion, and no happy life. I tell thee, man, I have lived many years, many long years, but they are nothing now to those which I must number. Ages, space, and eternity, and consciousness with the fierce thirst of death, and still unslacked. What? On thy brow, the seal of middle age has scarce been set. On thy elder far, think'st thou existence doth depend on time? It doth, but actions are our epics. Mine have made my days and nights imperishable, endless, and all the like as sands on the shore, barren and cold, on which the wild waves break, but nothing rests save carcasses and wrecks, rocks, and the salt surf weeds of bitterness. Alas, he's mad, but yet I must not leave him. I would I were, for then the things I see would be but a distempered dream. What is it that thou dost see, or think'st thou look'st upon? Myself, thee, a peasant of the Alps, thy humble virtues, hospitable home, in spirit patient, pious, proud, and free, thy days of health and nights of sleep, thy toils by danger dignified, yet guiltless, hopes of cheerful old age in a quiet grave with cross and garland on the green turf, and thy grandchildren's love for epitaph. This do I see. Then I look within, but it matters not, my soul is scorched already. And wouldst thou then exchange thy lot for mine? No, friend, I would not wrong thee, nor exchange my lot with that of any living being. I can bear in life what others could not brook to dream, but perish in their slumber. And for this cautious feeling for another's pain, canst thou be black with evil? Say not so. Can one of gentle thoughts have wreaked revenge upon his enemies? Oh, no, my injuries came down on those who loved me, on those whom I best loved. Heaven give thee rest, and penitence restore thee to thyself, My prayers shall be for thee. I need them not, but can endure thy pity. I depart. 'Tis time, farewell. No words, follow me not. I know my path, the mountain perils past. And once again, I charge thee, follow not. Beautiful spirit, with thy hair of light and dazzling eyes of glory, which make tame the beauties of the sunbow which bends o'er thee, I heard that thou wilt pardon to a son of earth, whom the obtrusive powers permit at times to commune with them, if that he avail him of his spells to call thee thus and gaze on thee a moment.
Son of earth, I know thee, and the powers which give thee power. I know thee for a man of many thoughts, and deeds good or ill, extreme in both, fatal and fated in thy sufferings. I have expected this. What wouldst thou with me?
To look upon thy beauty, nothing further. The face of the earth hath maddened me, and I take refuge in her mysteries and pierce the abodes of those who govern her. But they can nothing aid me. I have sought from them what they could not bestow, and now I search no further.
What could be the quest that is not in the power of the most powerful, the rulers of the invisible?
A boon, but why should I repeat it? 'Twere in vain.
I know not that. Let thy lips utter it.
Well, though it torture me, 'tis but the same. My pangs shall find a voice. From my youth upwards, my spirit walked not with the souls of men, nor looked upon the earth with human eyes. The thirst of their ambition was not mine. The aim of their existence was not mine. My joys, my griefs, my passion, and my powers made me a stranger. Though I wore the form, I had no sympathy with breathing flesh, nor amidst the creatures of clay that girded me was there but one who... But of her none. I said, with men and with the thoughts of men I held but slight communion. But instead my joy was in the wilderness, to breathe the difficult air of the iced mountain's top, where birds ne'er dot build, nor insect wings flit o'er the herbless granite, or to plunge into the torrent and roll along on the fresh breaking wave of river, stream, ocean in their flow. In these my early strength exalted, or to follow through the night the moving moon, the stars and their developments, or catch the dazzling lightning till my eyes grew dim, or to look, listening on the scattered leaves, while autumn winds were at their evening song. These were my pastimes, and to be alone. For if the beings, whom I was one, hating to be so, crossed me in my path, I felt myself degraded back to them and was all clay again. And then I dived in my wanderings to the caves of death, searching its cause in its effects, and drew from withered bones and skulls and heaped up dust conclusions most forbidden. Then I passed the nights of years in sciences, untaught save in the old time, and with time and toil and terrible ordeal, and such penance as in itself hath power upon the air and spirits that do compass air and earth, space, and the peopled infinite. I made mine eyes familiar with eternity, as before me did the Magi, and he who from out their fountain dwellings raised Eros and Adoros at Gadara, as I do thee. I've not named to thee father, mother, mistress, friend, or being with whom I shared the chain of human ties. If I had such, they seemed not such to me. Yet there was one. She was like to me in lineaments. Her eyes, her hair, her features, to the very tone even of her voice, they said, was like to mine, but softened all and tempered into beauty. She had the same lone thoughts and wanderings, the quest of hidden knowledge, and a mind to comprehend the universe. Nor these alone, but with them gentler powers than mine, pity and smiles and tears, those I had not. Tenderness, but that I had for her. Humility, that I never had. Her faults were mine. Her virtues were her own. I loved her and destroyed her. With thy hand? No, not with my hand, but with my heart, which broke her heart. It gazed on mine and withered. I've shed blood, but not hers, and yet her blood was shed. I saw and could not staunch it. And for this, a being of the race thou dost despise, the order which thine own would rise above, mingling with us and ours, thou dost forgo the gifts of our great knowledge, and shrinkst back to recreant mortality? Away! Daughter of air, I tell thee, since that hour my solitude is solitude no more, but peopled with the Furies. I have gnashed my teeth in darkness to the returning morn, and cursed myself till sunset. I have prayed for madness as a blessing. It is denied me. I have affronted death, but in the war of elements the waters shrunk from me, and fatal things passed harmless. The cold hand of an all-pitiless demon held me back by a single hair which would not break. I plunged amidst mankind. Forgetfulness I sought in all, save where 'tis to be found. And that I have to learn my sciences, my long-pursued and superhuman art, is mortal here. I dwell in my despair and live forever. It may be that I can aid thee to do this. Thy power must wake the dead, or lay me low with them. Do so, in any shape, in any hour, with any torture, so it be the last. That is not in my province, but if thou wilt swear obedience to my will, and do my bidding, it may help thee to thy wishes. I will not swear. Obey, and who? The spirits whose presence I command, and be the slave of those who served me? Never. Is this all? Hast thou no gentler answer? Yet bethink thee, and pause ere thou rejectest. I have said it. Enough. Then I may retire? Say! Retire. We are the fools of time and terror. Days steal on us and steal from us. Yet we live, loathing our life and dreading still to die. In all the days of this detested yoke, this vital weight upon a struggling heart, which sinks with sorrow or beats quick with pain, a joy that ends in agony or faintness. In all the days of past and future, for in life there is no present we can number. How few, how less than few, wherein the soul forbears to pant for death, and yet draws back as from a stream in winter, though the chill be but a moment's. I have one resource in my sciences still. I can call the dead and ask them what it is we dread to be. The sternest answer can but be the grave, and that is nothing. If I had never lived, that which I loved would still be living. If I had never loved, that which I loved would still be beautiful, happy in giving happiness. What is she? What is she now? A sufferer for my sins? Or something that I dare not think upon? Or nothing? Within few hours, I shall not call in vain. Yet in this hour I dread the thing I dare. Until this hour I never shrunk to gaze on spirit good or evil. Now I tremble and feel a strange, cold thaw upon my heart. But I can act even what I most abhor, and champion human fears. The night approaches. Hail to our master, Prince of earth and air, who walks the clouds and waters. In his hand the scepter of the elements, which tear themselves to chaos at his high command. He breatheth, a tempest shakes the sea. He speaketh, and the clouds reply. In thunder he gazeth, from his glance the sunbeams flee. He moveth, earthquakes rend the world asunder. From his footsteps the volcanoes rise. His shadow is the pestilence, his path the comet's herald through the crackling skies, and planets turn to ashes at his wrath. To him war pays daily sacrifice, to him death pays his tribute. Life is his, with all its infinite of agonies, and his the spirit of whatever is. What's here? A mortal? Thou rash and fatal wretch, prostrate thyself, child of clay, or dread the worst. I know it, and yet, ye see, I kneel not. 'Twill be taught thee. 'Tis taught already. Many a night on the earth, on the bare ground, have I bowed down my face and strewed my head with ashes. I have known the fullness of humiliation, for I sunk before my vain despair, and knelt to my own desolation. Dost thou dare refuse to ARIAMANES on his throne what the whole earth accords? Beholding not the terror of his glory? Crouch, I say! Ye know what I have known, and without power I could not be among thee. But there are powers deeper still beyond. I come in quest of such to answer unto what I seek. What wouldst thou? Thou canst not reply to me. Call up the dead. My question is for them. Great ARIAMANES, doth thy will avouch the wishes of this mortal? Yea. Who wouldst thou uncarnal? One without a tomb. Call up Astarte. Shadow or spirit, whatever thou art, who still doth inherit the whole, or the part of the form of thy birth, of the mold of thy clay, which returned to the earth, reappeared to the day, Bear what thou borest, the heart and the form and the aspect thou worest. Redeem from the worm. Appear! 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 Who sent thee there requires thee here. Can this be death? There's bloom upon her cheeks. But now I see it is no living hue, but a strange hectic like the unnatural red which autumn plants upon the perished leaf. It is the same. Oh God, that I should dread to look upon the same. Astarte, no, I cannot speak to her, but bid her speak to me. Condemn me or forgive me. By the power which hath broken the grave which enthralled thee, speak to him who hath spoken, or he who hath called thee. Silent still, and in that silence I am more than answered. My power extends no further. Prince of air, it falls on thee alone. Command her voice. Spirit, obey this scepter. Silent still. She is not of our order, but belongs to the other powers. Mortal, thy quest is vain, and we are baffled also. Hear me. Hear me, Astarte, my beloved. Speak to me. I have so much endured, so much endure. Look on me. The grave hath not changed thee more than I am changed for thee. Thou lovest me too much as I loved thee. We were not made to torture thus each other, though it were the deadliest sin to love as we have loved. Say that thou lovest me not, that I do bear the punishment for both, that thou wilt be one of the blessed, and that I shall die. For hitherto all fateful things conspire to bind me in existence, in a life which makes me shrink from immortality, a future like the past. I cannot rest. I know not what I ask, nor what I seek. I feel but what thou art, and what I am. For I have called on thee in the still nights. I have startled the slumbering birds in the hushed boughs, and woke the mountain wolves, and made the caves acquainted with thy vainly echoed name, which answered me. Many things answered me, spirits and men, but thou wert silent still. Speak to me. I have outwatched the stars, and gazed o'er the heavens in vain in search of thee. Speak to me. I've wandered o'er the earth and never found thy likeness. Speak to me. Look on the fiends around. They feel for me. I fear them not, and feel for thee alone. Speak to me. Though it be but in wrath, but say, I reck not what, but let me hear thee once. Once more.
Manfred.
Say on. Say on. I live but in the sound. It is thy voice.
Manfred, tomorrow ends thine earthly ills. Farewell.
Yet one word more. Am I forgiven?
Farewell.
Say, shall we meet again?
Farewell.
One word. For mercy's sake, thou lovest me.
Manfred.
She's gone, and will not be recalled. Her words will be fulfilled. Return to the earth. Hast thou any more questions of our great sovereign or his worshippers? None. Then, for a time, farewell. We meet then. Where? On the earth? Even as thou wilt. And for the grace accorded, I now depart, debtor. Fare thee well. There is a calm upon me, an inexplicable stillness, which till now did not belong to what I knew of life. It hath enlarged my thoughts with a new sense, and I within my tablets would note down that there is such a feeling. Who's there? Peace be with Count Manfred. Thanks, Holy Father. You are welcome to these walls. Thy presence honors them and blesseth those who dwell within. What would my reverend guest? Thus, without prelude, my age and zeal, my office and good intent must plead my privilege. Our near, though not acquainted neighborhood may also be my herald. Rumors, strange, and of an unholy nature are abroad, and busy with thy name, a noble name for centuries. May he who bears it now transmit it unimpaired. Proceed, I listen. 'Tis said, thou holdest converse with the things which are forbidden to the search of man, that with the dwellers of the dark abodes, the many evil and unearthly spirits which walk the valley of the shade of death thou communest. I know that with mankind, thy fellows in creation, thou dost rarely exchange thy thoughts, and that thy solitude were as an anchorite's, were it but holy. And what are they who do avouch these things? My pious brethren, the scared peasantry, even thy own vassals who do look on thee with unquiet eyes. Thy life's in peril. Take it. I come to save and not destroy. I will not pry into thy secret soul. But if these things be sooth, there still is time for penitence and pity. Reconcile thee with the true church, and through the church to heaven. I hear thee. This is my reply. Whatever I have been or am doth rest between heaven and myself. I shall not choose a mortal to be my mediator. Have I sinned against your ordinances? Prove and punish. My son, I did not speak of punishment, but penitence and pardon. With thyself the choice of such remains. And for the last, our institutions and our strong belief have given me power to smooth the path from sin to higher hopes and better thoughts. The first I leave to heaven. Vengeance is mine alone, so saith the Lord. And in all humbleness, his servant echoes back the awful word. Old man, there is no power in holy men, no charm in prayer, nor purifying form of penitence, nor outward look, nor fast, nor agony, nor greater than all these, the innate tortures of that deep despair which is remorse without the fear of hell. Yet all in all sufficient in itself would make a hell of a heaven, can exorcise from out the unbounded spirit the quick sense of its own sins, wrong sufferance and revenge upon itself. There is no future pain can deal that justice on the self-condemned he deals on his own soul. All that is well, for this will pass away and be succeeded by an auspicious hope, which shall look up with calm assurance to that blessed place which all who seek may win. Whatever be their earthly errors, so they be atoned. And the commencement of atonement is the beginning of necessity. Say on, and all our church can teach thee shall be taught, and all we can absolve shall be pardoned. When Rome's sixth emperor was near his last, the victim of a self-inflicted wound to shun the torments of a public death from senates once his slave, a certain officer, with show of loyal pity, would have staunched the gushing throats with his officious robe. The dying Roman thrust him back and said, "Is this fidelity? It is too late." "And what of this?" I answer with the Roman, "It is too late. It never can be too late to reconcile thyself with thy own soul, and thy own soul with heaven." Father, I have had those earthly visions and noble aspirations in my youth to make mine own mind that of other men, the enlightener of nations, and to rise, I knew not whither, but to fall, and fall even as the mountain cataract which, having leapt from its more dazzling height, even in the foaming strength of its abyss lies low but mighty still. But this is past, my thoughts mistook themselves, and wherefore so? I could not tame my nature down, for he must serve who fain would sway and soothe, and sue and be a living lie who would become a mighty thing amongst the mean, for such the mass are. I disdain to mingle with a herd, though to be leader, and of wolves. The lion is alone, so am I. And why not live and act with other men? Because my nature was averse from life, and yet not cruel. For I would not make but find a desolation. Such hath been the course of my existence, but there came things in my path which are no more. Alas, I can to fear that thou art past all aid from me and from my calling. Yet so young, I still would look on me. There is an order of mortals on this earth, who grow old in their youth and die ere middle age. Some perishing of pleasure, some of study, some of mere toils, some of mere weariness, some of disease and some insanity, and some of withered or of broken hearts. For this last is a malady which slays more than are numbered in the lists of fate. Look upon me, for of all these things have I partaken, and of all these things one were enough. Then wonder not that I am what I am, but that I ever was, or having been, that I am still on this earth. Yet, hear me still, old man, I do respect thine order and revere thine years. I deem thy purpose pious, but it is in vain. Think me not churlish. I would spare thyself far more than me in shunning at this time all further colloquy. And so, farewell. Most glorious orb, thou chief star that doth rise and shine and set in glory, fare thee well. I never shall see thee more. As my first glance of love and wonder was for thee. Take my latest look. Thou wilt not beam on one to whom the gifts of life and warmth have been of a more fatal nature. He's gone. I follow. The stars are forth. The moon above the top of the snow-shining mountains. Beautiful. I linger yet with nature, for the night hath been to me a more familiar face than that of man, and in her sorry shade of dim and solitary loneliness, I learned the language of another world. I do remember that in my youth, when I was wandering, upon such a night I stood within the Colosseum's wall, midst the chief relics of almighty Rome. The trees which grew along the broken arches waved dark in the blue midnight. The stars shone through the rents of ruin. And thou didst shine, thou rolling moon, upon all this and cast a wide and tender light which softened down the hoar austerity, rugged desolation, and filled up as 'twere anew the gaps of centuries, leaving that beautiful which still was so, and making that which was not. To the place became religion, and the heart ran o'er with silent worship of the great of old, the dead but sceptred sovereigns who still rule our spirits from their urns. It was such a night. It is strange that I recall it at this time, but I have found that our thoughts take wildest flight even at the moment when they should array themselves in pensive order. My good Lord, I crave a second grace for this approach, but yet let not my humble zeal offend by its abruptness. All it hath of ill recoils on me. It's good if the effect may light upon your head. Could I say heart? Could I touch that with words or prayers, I should recall a noble spirit which hath wandered, but is not yet all lost. Thou know'st me not. My days are numbered, and my deeds recorded. Retire, or 'twill be dangerous. Thou dost not mean to menace me. Not I. I simply tell thee peril is at hand, and would preserve thee. What dost thou mean? Look, there. Tell me what thou seest. Nothing. Look there, and steadfastly. Now, tell me what thou seest. I see a dusk, an awful figure rise, like an infernal god from the depths of the earth. His face wrapped in a mantle, and his form robed as with angry clouds. He stands between thyself and me, but I do fear him not. Nor should thee. Thou hast no cause. He shall not harm thee, but his sight may shock thy old limbs into palsy. I say to thee, retire, and I reply, I will not till I have battled with this fiend. What doth he here? What doth he here? I did not call for him. He is unbidden. Oh, lost mortal, what with guests like these hast thou to do? I tremble for thy sake. Why doth he gaze on thee, and thou on him? Avaunt! Pronounce. What is thy mission? Come. What art thou, unknown being? Answer! Speak! The genius of this mortal. Come. It is time. I'm prepared for all things, but deny the power which summons me. Who sent thee here? Thou'lt know anon. Come. Come. I have commanded things of an essence far greater than thine, and striven with thy masters. Get thee hence! Mortal, thine hour is come. Away, I say. I knew and know my hour is come, but not to render up my soul to such as thee. Away. I'll die as I have lived, alone. Then I must summon up my brethren. Rise! Avaunt, ye evil ones! Avaunt, I say! Ye have no power where piety hath power, and I do charge ye in the name of all's man! We know ourselves, our mission, and thine order. Waste not thy holy words on idle uses. It is in vain. This man is forfeited. Once more I summon him. Away. Away. I do defy thee. Though I feel my soul is ebbing from me, yet I do defy thee. Nor will I hence. While I have earthly breath to breathe my scorn upon ye, earthly strength to wrestle, though with spirits. What thou takest will be ta'en limb by limb. Reluctant mortal! Is this the Magian who would so pervade the world invisible and make himself almost our equal? Can it be that thou art thus in love with life? The very life which has made thee wretched. Thou false fiend, thou liest. My life is in its last hour, that I know, nor would redeem a moment of that hour. I do not combat death, but with thee and thy surrounding angels. My past power was purchased by no compact with thy crew, but by superior science, penance, daring, and length of watching, strength of mind, and skill in knowledge of our fathers. When the earth saw men and spirits walking side by side, and gave ye no supremacy, I stand upon my strength. I do defy, deny, spurn back, and scorn ye. But thy many crimes have made thee. What are crimes to such as thee? Must crimes be punished but by other crimes and greater criminals? Back to thy hell! Thou now hast no power upon me, that I feel. Thou shalt never possess me, that I know. What I have done, I bear within a torture which could nothing gain from thine. The mind which is immortal makes its own requital for its good or evil thoughts, is its own origin of ill and end, and its own place and time. Its innate sense, when stripped of this mortality, derives no color from the fleeting things without, but is absorbed in sufferance or in joy, born from the knowledge of its own desert. Thou didst not tempt me, and thou couldst not tempt me. I have not been thy deep, nor am thy prey, but was my own destroyer, and will be my own hereafter. Back, ye baffled fiends! The hand of death is on me, but not yours! Alas, how pale thou art! Thy lips are white, and thy breast heaves, and in thy gasping throat the accents rattle. Give thy prayers to heaven. Pray, albeit but in thought, but die not thus. It is over. My dull eyes can fix thee not. But all things swim around me, and the earth heaves, as it were, beneath me. Fare thee well. Give me thy hand. Alas, cold, cold, even to the heart. But yet one prayer. Alas, how fares it with thee? Old man. 'Tis not so difficult to die.